Hello there. This is going to be we're going to call it episode 0, and it's going to be me just kind of talking about how I got into horror, maybe some of my favorite horror movies. I'm not really going to get into detail, I'm just going to be talking about them and maybe some of the people who got me into those horror movies. And so, yeah, here we go. So, I've been watching horror movies for as long as I can remember, and my stepdad introduced me to a lot of horror movies through his VHS collection, and it was very massive. And I remember having family movie nights and watching all kinds of stuff. But the main thing that really sticks out to me is like, I think it was Friday the 13th, Part 6. And when Jason kills that guy in the porta potty. It might be part 5, and that's like the first thing I think of when I think of horror movies is that scene, which is ridiculous because it's not scary. It's a little silly, but that kind of makes sense because of how silly I am as a person. So, but when I think of horror movies and I think back to like the beginning, that's one that always comes to mind. And I think about being in my living room as a kid, and I remember always having like a pallet there so I could like cover up my head so if I got too scared, and that was always fun. But through the years, like as you grow older, watching horror movies, you get used to seeing things, and you just wait for those things. But I always think back to when I was just horrified of a Jason or a Freddy. When I remember watching Halloween 4, watching Michael chase Jamie with the car, and that always scared me because she was so little and I was about the same age when I watched those movies, and that always freaked me out. So those main headliner type of characters like Michael and Jason and Freddy, they were always there, just scare the crap out of me. And I've grown to love those characters, and we have a couple props here of some of them, and that. But now my love of those characters is, I watch any of those movies. I watch Halloween 6 or whatever, and it's not the best Halloween movie, and some people think it's the worst. But just like watching, like there would be marathons on like TNT or something, and so I'd watch like all the Halloween movies in one day, and so I came to love all those movies, and that's so I always have a good time with any of them. I'll put them on. I don't care if it's the worst one, and that kind of dives into my love of bad movies. And horror has a ton of bad movies. So I literally have a collection of movies here, and I'm planning to go through all of them. And there is Halloween. There's what do we got? Got Black Christmas, which I love. A lot of well-known horror movies, The Shining. But there's also Killjoy over here, and that's one of my favorite franchises. It's horrible, and I love it. And when I started talking about starting this podcast, I just this is probably like a pandemic idea. Really, I was living alone and I wasn't talking to anybody, and I just wanted to talk like outwards and just kind of maybe connect with somebody or people, like a group of people who love the things I love, like horror, and it's just something I've been attached to forever. And once I pick a subject or a movie that I'm going to talk about, I'll kind of deep dive into it for a little bit and put something together, and then start talking about it. And I'm going to have movies that I do alone, and then movies that I do with my guests. So I'm going to put together whatever their movie is. So the movies I really like that I might not just talk about by myself, but I'm planning to have special ones with just me talking about them and maybe some background and people who helped make it. I'm a big 80s special effects guy, and so I'll dive into, people who are known for special effects, like Tom Savini or something, with Dawn of the Dead and Friday the 13th and movies like that. And then the directors, Wes Craven's, Toby Hooper's, and that's gonna be fun. I've always liked talking to people about Funhouse. It's Toby Hooper. It's after he did Texas Chainsaw, and it is a strange movie, but I find it to be fun, a little disturbing. Um, Gonna go into the another big character and franchise I love is Child's Play. We'll get into those movies and Chucky over the years and the remake, and we'll do a couple originals and remakes. We might do like verses. I don't know, but we'll definitely dive into those because I love some remakes, and some of them have a lot of cool ideas. They maybe not be the best remake, but there'll be interesting things in there that I really enjoy. I'm a relatively positive person. I don't plan on talking about movies I don't like. Like I'm open for suggestions, but like if I come across something and I just don't like that movie, I'm not gonna talk about it. I'm not really into rape revenge movies, so I doubt there'll be a Last House on the Left. If I get someone on whose favorite horror movie is Last House on the Left, when I'm going to be talking to people about their favorite horror movies, I'm going to mainly just ask them about the horror movie. I'll probably watch it, but if it's a rape revenge, I probably won't. I'll probably just kind of dig on them for a little bit and see why they like it, and it might spark my interest to actually watch it. But that's never been a genre of horror that I really get into. So if you're looking for that, this might not be the podcast for you. But I like just zany, like the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, like a weird kill or a weird character, like when that kid turns to the wizard and stuff like that. And then there will be we'll probably do a couple skits here and there just for fun. Maybe do some reenactments of scenes. Post some photos based on horror movies, and just have a lot of fun just with the horror genre in general, and just see how it flows, where it goes, and if it just kind of sticks to a regular interview show, that's fine. That's the main plan. But I want to have fun with it, and I don't want to like stifle myself with whatever I'm talking about. I'm gonna stick to horror, but we will. I'm a lover of movies in general, so you'll hear references to other movies. When we talk about stuff, we will talk about places around where we are. Where I found this weird horror movie at some thrift store down the road, and if that comes up, I'll talk about that business for a little bit. Why I think it's so cool and interesting, what drives me to go there, and then I have my producer over here, my podman, and he'll chime in here and there. He'll if I start rambling or something, he'll maybe point me in the right direction. So you'll probably hear him. And what is this? Oh, and we'll dive into little things, little side tangents. It's gonna happen no matter what. So there's no fighting it. But my love of pro wrestling, so I'll talk about like Kane or The Undertaker because they are relevant to the horror genre. We'll dive into some music, the Misfits in particular, horror type bands. Oh, what do we got over here? Ah, here we go. Is it on camera? Where is that? Yeah. So, get some Jerry Only there. We got the Fiend mask over here. And my vest is a Misfits vest. And we'll see. I lost my train of thought when I grabbed that toy. But yeah, my producer, Podman, he will chime in here and there. You'll hear him. And he'll probably be on camera every once in a while. We're gonna discuss I'll discuss movies that he likes, so he'll probably be more vocal in those ones. Because he also likes horror movies, so even if I have like a guest like Podman will be able to chime in and hey, like, you guys were talking about this and this is my favorite part of that movie, something like that, or I might do a full interview with him. I don't know yet. But so that would be good. And sorry. Sorry, had to take a drink there. What else? Oh yeah, so the music. Misfits was one. I really got into Ice Nine Kills when they did their album about horror movies, which is great. And then we'll dive into little things here and there. Oh, and like I was saying earlier, like we'll reference other movies. I have a habit of referencing Wayne's World all the time. So Podman is a bit of a character. You guys will see that and hear that when he gets kind of on the show more, and he will help me promote everything, and he's trying to make sure I get everything out there. And I only have the one mic at the moment, so like if he talks, we couldn't really hear him. So, and then the phone is also far away. We'll set up. I've already set up a YouTube page that doesn't have anything on it yet, but we're gonna get the video part of this out, and we're gonna set up a Patreon, and we're gonna. What is that? Products? What kind of products? Stuff to help us. Oh yeah. Yeah. So if you're listening and you have something that will help us, like a video, whatever you use for video or a microphone, just let us know, because this is our first time doing this, and we'll try to make this the best show as possible. And that would, if you're more experienced in the podcast form or video form, just point us in the right direction. We'd really appreciate that. And yeah. So let me get back to the beginning where I talk about the things I like and why I decided to start this, which I've already pretty much covered, but a little bit more broad. So like I said, I have this big collection of movies here, and the plan is to go through all of them, and I constantly buy new movies. I'm a very big fan of physical media, and I've recently upgraded to a Blu-ray, and so that's what I get all my movies on. But there will be times where I'll watch movies on other formats, streaming. There's a couple movies that I really like that were never released on DVD, and they're only on VHS, and I have access to that. So we'll talk about a couple oddball movies that never got a DVD release. there's not too many of those that come to mind right now. There's a few, but those are fun, and they'll be interesting to talk about and hopefully get some more eyes on, uh, and maybe get at least a release of that. That'd be dope. Podman's pulling the strings, and I'm just your humble host. And I will. There's a cat distracting me. There's cats in the studio, and they are rambunctious. So what was that? When I was a kid, uh, James had a giant cabinet of. Oh, yeah. So James is my stepdad, and he had a giant cabinet of movies. And as kids, we would kind of similar to this, but it was a lot, more full because it was just packed. So as a kid, we would open it up, and it would just be it's just a ton of movies, and I'm just kind of visualizing it right now because I was smaller, so it was just massive. And so I'd open it up, and there'd just be, and they were all organized. He was very particular, and so the different shelves had different things. And so, like, second shelf down was horror, and I remember just kind of looking through that and just seeing all the spines of the VHS tapes. And so he had his list, and you pull the movie out, and you take it and you go watch it, and you'd come back and you'd have to put it back in the exact spot because he knew where it was, and he had his list over here. So if he let like people borrow his movies or whatever, he would know what was missing. And so like if you brought it back and you put it in the wrong spot, like he'd be like, "Oh, Jumanji doesn't go there. It goes over here. You put it in the sci-fi section." And so it was a lot of fun and bizarre, and that's just the kind of guy he is. He just has, to this day, he organizes them. Oh, we're probably gonna have him on the show. He's hearing impaired, so it's a little difficult to probably have a long conversation with him. We'll do the best we can. He does this thing where he turns his ear to you so he can hear you. Okay, and we'll probably have to edit it quite a bit to get him to get it to be a steady show. um, but he loves movies. He like I said, he still has like a big DVD collection to this day, and there's a lot of horror movies in there, and he watches everything. And you could talk to him about any like horror movie. He'll probably know what it is. That's how I found Killjoy, actually, was through him, and he had a box set that has all three, and we have that same. Well, it's not the same box set. We have a box set with Killjoy and Puppet Master, but he actually talked to Podman one day about Killjoy because Podman picked up that copy of Killjoy, uh, and so it was kind of a funny thing because it's just random horror movie, and he's just like, "Oh yeah, Killjoy, I love that movie." Yeah, and so that was really funny when Podman was telling me about that. Um, and so we'll have him on. I'm gonna have mainly just my friends come on. I've already had a bunch of you guys reach out to me and talk to me, and talk to me about horror movies that you'd like to talk about because and if you are listening to this and uh, early on at least, because I don't know what's gonna happen once later. But feel free to reach out and be like, "Hey, uh, I I would like to talk about this horror movie, especially if we haven't covered it yet." And then No, I'm not gonna get into that. Not yet, at least. But yeah, just reach out and tell me about your favorite horror movie. Well, at least tell me what your favorite horror movie is, and we might talk about it. One of my friends, mostly we're gonna do it live with each other in the same room. But I have a friend who lives out of state that I'm gonna try to do a Zoom call with, see how that goes. And then maybe we can do that if you're not close or anything like that. But the set that I'm at right now, we're gonna have two chairs here. This is just a single person format right now, and so it's gonna be me and them facing each other, talking. Just trying to get into whatever horror movie they want to talk about. How big's my shot? Can you see the posters? Two of them? Okay. So I got my posters back here. I got a cut, which is Psycho, which is an exhibit that doesn't run anymore. It was Psycho that was stretched out to 24 hours. Psycho is one of my favorite movies. And then back here is Creature from the Black Lagoon, which is also one of my favorite movies, which I've recently rewatched, and I will rewatch again when I actually talk about it, which I don't know when I'll do that. I don't have a plan for that. And then right here is my Carrie shirt. I love Carrie. And we'll talk about that. That's probably one of the ones I'll talk about the remake as well. And then I just have little things here and there. I got a Nosferatu that will. I'll definitely talk about Nosferatu. We could maybe have an episode specifically about vampires, and one of my favorite vampire movies is a rock opera called Suck that doesn't get enough love. I'm definitely going to talk about that movie. I love that movie. Your logo can be here. Just gonna drag this out. Are you picking that up? Okay, good. I just thought it was funny. This is my Jason mug. I love it. My old roommate broke it, so it's held together with super glue. So I haven't actually used it for a drinking cup in like a year. Stabbing. Machete. Alright, gonna put it down now in a second. Alright, I needed that. You'll probably see plenty of props. Are we doing advertisements again? Oh, if you have a product you'd like us to talk about, if we like the product, we will talk about it, and we will Vanna White it for you. If we actually like it, we're dicks like that. Also, that saying we're dicks like that reminds me. I realized I haven't done is I swear a lot. I say fuck a lot. So this is not family friendly unless you let your kids listen to the word fuck and shit. Growing up watching horror movies, watching Jason, there's a lot of tits, there's a lot of swearing, a lot of blood and gore. So I assume that you would understand that it's kind of there's like would be a shock factor to it. Oh, excuse me. And then if you don't like little Timmy listening to people swear a lot, I wouldn't recommend this podcast. But I think Timmy can handle it. I mean, he's fine. But just ask James, he'll tell you. Can you hear the laughter? Huh? James? Oh, James. If you ask James, it might take him a minute to respond. He's not being rude. No, I think I broke Podman. But let's see what else I got over here. We did products. We did. We said asking about their favorite movies. Oh, so yeah, if there's a movie you like, a horror movie, obviously, that you think we should talk about, just let us know. Um, and if you have, if you're aware of, or doing something horror related, YouTube show, um, if you have a YouTube video, a video that you shot, something horror related, and if you have a horror themed band, Halloween themed, something, something like that, any horror themed thing that you can think of, like, just let me know. Tell me, let me say, check this out. We would love to go out to different places if we can set up our set at some form of our set, where a mic and a camera. If that's all we can do, that's fine. But like, we can have it, at a local bar. We can have it wherever. We get a strip club. There's zombies or strippers. I feel like if we have a setting, it would kind of play into whatever we're talking about. I would love to do stuff at like a theater. There's a local theater here, Circle Cinema, and I would love to do a show there. Like, I think that's like uh, short term, and to maybe, what's the word I'm looking for? Not co-produce. Like, we work together. What is that? Get paid? I mean, yeah, we'd like to get paid for it, but like, and that's another goal, is like to make this where it's profitable, like where we, you know, uh, like I want to be like a main guy. I'm gonna hammer it, okay? Like, I want to be like a normal guy and everything, but like, to do something, or at least talk about something that you love, and to dabble in that's fun. But to, say I do this, and it becomes popular, and it gets to a point where I can meet like a John Carpenter or something like that, to do something I love, and like share and get it to flourish, and would would be great. But um, but so like I was saying, like Circle Cinema would be like to go do a show there would be a great, like, this is really getting going kind of feeling. Uh, and they they have events, and so like, if they're showing some kind of independent horror movie, we could like go that night and watch that movie, and then have the stuff set up, and then once that movie ends, we come out and we just talk to people about that movie. And the setting of the Circle Cinema is a very cool place. Um, so to leave our home base and just go other places and do shows there, I think would be a lot of fun. And to talk to, if when we get our fan base, talk to them, people I don't know, people that aren't my friends, that I'm going to just interview because I've known them forever, and I'm aware that they have this love for horror like I do. But to go out in the wild and meet new people, I think would be a lot of fun. But then, but yeah, I'm willing to go anywhere. But Circle Cinema is like a like a goal place to do it. Yeah, we're gonna have a small, and it'll grow as we grow. But right now, we're gonna have a small we're gonna have a small bucket list of things because it's always good to set up goals for when you start something. Just recording a first episode or getting our setup here is like getting the background of this was just one of the goals. It was very a small goal, but like you got to start somewhere, and you got to see. It helps to see that progress by having the set and having my posters up in my movies, and Podman's movies, just kind of all thrown in here. Not really, not like messy thrown, but like organized chaos. We're getting this together, and we're putting it up, and we have a set that how we're gonna shoot this. So that to see it, to have the chair here just for me to sit and to talk to you guys is just like, okay, cool, we're getting this thing started. And so you just start small, but like it's good to have put those bigger goals, like getting to do a show at a local place around here. And it doesn't matter where, really. I'll go anywhere, almost anywhere. Please don't murder me for real. I would appreciate that. But I mean, if you do, be theatric about it. Give me a Jason Voorhees theatrical death. I'd appreciate that. Or American Psycho, the Huey Lewis scene. That'd be great. So, if you're planning to murder me, be clever about it. And if you're gonna murder me, American Psycho style, and you're not wearing a tie and a raincoat, I'm gonna be real pissed. You gotta wear the whole get-up. Camera. If someone kills me, hopefully we get it on the camera and we can post it. That'd be great. Well, I went through went through a lot of stuff. There's more to talk about. We'll record more and get everything set up and express everything we're trying to get through with the podcast. Very simple for the most part. Talk about horror movies, and then we will come back and record probably a bunch of episodes. Not real quick, but consistently. We try to get those first 5 episodes out as soon as possible. And this is early still. I'm thinking we're gonna get those out late September, early October, because I feel like that makes more sense to start a horror podcast then. But I haven't even said the name of the podcast. And if you're watching this, you probably already know. But the podcast is You Gotta Be Effing Kidding, which is a reference to one of my favorite horror movies. But it's just you're just gonna have fun talking to people, talking about horror, talking about all the horror and horror adjacent movies, TV shows, music, random horror skits in other movies that aren't horror at all. Probably the horror adjacent stuff is like a Jurassic Park or something. We'll dive into a little bit here and there of stuff that's kind of scary. Like as a kid, like Jurassic Park was scary, so we'll get into that and just stay here. Continue to keep us up to date, or we'll try to keep you up to date on You Gotta Be Effing Kidding, and I will see you guys soon. Goodbye.